you want to taste it like a dork?
Like a dork?
Yeah.
How's
so
that?
I'll walk you through it. So
right.
grab the beer,
Yeah.
put it in your mouth,
Okay.
swish it around, plug your nose, swallow, slowly let go of your nose and exhale. You should taste it kind of under your eyeballs.
And my eyeballs are welling up, actually. Yeah. I've never done that before. That's wild. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to All Beer Inside. To remind you, I'm your not-so-humble host, Carp, and today I am in downtown Torrance, or technically the Torrance area, and joining me is Scott from Clear Lake Brewing Company / Muskoka BeerSpa.
Thanks for coming up.
Thank you very much for hosting us. As you can hear, there's a train in the background. It's a very busy area, which is very clear. It's nice and early in the morning. We got a bit of a drizzle, but you brought me out some delicious-looking beers here to try. They're hidden behind the cans. What are we starting with?
We're gonna start with the cream ale here.
Okay. Oh, thank you. All right. So tell me about the beer.
Yeah. So the goal of the cream ale here is just to be light, clean, crisp. We use local Muskoka craft honey to help bump up the ABV and help dry it out a little bit.
Okay.
A little hit of Cascade hops at the end there for a little citrus kick. Overall, very clean, refreshing, approachable beer.
Fantastic. I believe this is what I had when coming into the spa area, the cabin area. This was our complimentary beer to try. And then I guess because we're renting, we got a complimentary keg as well, which is always fantastic. So, I mean, what's the story going from the brewery to the spa? What's the history of everything?
So the resort's actually been around longer than the brewery. So Greg's owned that resort for years and years and years. And in the last couple of years, he took a couple of trips to Prague, kind of got the idea from there, and just ran with it with his own resort. The whole goal was to build a place that we wanted to be. I think they've crushed it.
So what's kind of the history of just the Clear Lake Brewing itself? I know you mentioned pre-show 5 years.
Yep.
So how did that come about?
Same kind of idea. Greg sat down with some friends and kind of said, okay, what do we want? We want to make beer. We want to drink beer. So here we are, basically. Converted an old paint shop into a brewery. We've got the property out front for pizza, and we've got a 200-liter still out there as well under the Cottage Springs umbrella. And yeah, it's just sort of grown and grown and grown.
Amazing. Love it. It's, the grassroots movement is it's always nice to hear. And we'll talk about your history after, but it's just like the variety of the brewing world. You know, we've interviewed guys with PhDs who are brewers now, civil engineers, these guys. It's crazy, the kind of the rainbow of everybody that's done stuff to end up in craft beer.
Yeah.
So
seems to draw you in.
Yeah. All right, what's number 2 here?
Session is our bread and butter, if you will. English style pale ale on American yeast. So EKG and Willamette.
Toast. Oh yeah.
Get a bit of that earthy floral hop profile. A little kick of toast, slight caramel, but just very clean and cheerful. Our core beers we try and keep quite simple. We are a cottage brewery. The goal is to have beer that's approachable and people want to have a few of.
Yeah, that's the important part. It's, you want those campfire beers. You want to just sit down and clearly, local people probably aren't traveling much. You're on a giant clear lake out there. Yep. So I was sitting on the dock earlier this morning just looking, and it's like, calm. Escaping from the big city of Montreal to come here is very nice and relaxing. So, why'd you guys go with Clear Lake Brewing and not Torrance Brewing, or kind of have an amalgamation of the ownership's names?
Before Muskoka BeerSpa, it was Clear Lake Village Resort.
Okay.
So we were rolling with sort of the heritage of that. The water on Clear Lake, if you took a look, is beautifully clear. Yeah. It just sort of resembles some of the beers that we try and make and kind of put it all together.
So Scott, kind of roadblocks and difficulties of everything, just from, first of all, creating the brewery itself. Was the town very welcoming? Did you guys have licensing problems, anything like that? Or
There's always something when you're trying to build a brewery. We are a closed system here. We pull all of our water from the well, and it all goes into a fast system in the back. Okay. We pre-treat. We have our own water treatment plant of sorts here. So keeping that all up to speed and running. And now 5 years down the line, it's size.
Yeah.
So we're busy, basically. We've got lots of beer to make, lots of beer to sell, and people keep supporting us, which is amazing. So.
And then the owners, did they run into any, like you said, it was already kind of a resort, any kind of difficulties switching? I'm assuming some sort of license to switch it to a beer spa?
That licensing side wasn't too bad. All of the work was done with ourselves and a bunch of GCs that we brought in. So it was just a year and a half of running backhoes and excavators and pouring concrete and pouring pasts, building saunas. Like, a lot of work has gone into it in the last couple of years.
I do enjoy it back there, like the three different, well, the two saunas, the steam room, the hot bath, the cold bath, and the pool itself as well. It's just, it's a good experience to have so far. I mean, if you're a craft beer drinker and you're within, I would say, even a 10-hour drive, you can get your butt out here. It's if for a craft beer drinker who wants to get out of the big city, this is the place to be. So,
yeah.
And I'm assuming Torrance was very welcoming of the fact that, like, yes, bring in some business.
Yeah, this whole intersection, this whole area has been revitalized hugely, mostly by the efforts of Greg, and then that's allowed other businesses to move into the site as well. So the general store across the road, this is their first season, and they're having a go at it, which is amazing. So yeah, Muskoka's healing after the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, we were speaking with Melissa, who set this up pre-show, and she said, like, yeah, we've thankfully kind of been able to remain open because it's like we can have people in cabins during the summer because stuff was a little more lax during the summer. But then I'm assuming you guys are open during the winter as well.
Oh, yeah.
Just not the pool,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, so some of the spa amenities will be closed for the winter season. But for the most part, we're open, we're fully functioning. There's lots of great sled trails around, and we do an ice rink all over the beer garden here, and we keep it open as late as we can.
That's amazing. We got another beer here to try.
Summer.
Okay. I'll just put that. A toast. That smells like a delightful summer beer.
So a little more, it's an introduction to toffee and caramel, basically. Another little hit of Cascade there. USO5, so very neutral, clean ale yeast. We're all ale here. We don't have the tank time to do lagers correctly, and if we can't do something correctly, we're not going to do it.
It's pointless. It puts a negative connotation on you if you're screwing up the style. So that's the last thing you kind of need. So.
Yep. So we're not going to rush it. We're all ale here, and yeah, a little bit of toffee caramel.
Amazing, fantastic beer. So what got you into brewing beer?
My other career was devastating.
Okay.
I went to school for microbiology. I did plant research for a bit and then got into tobacco research, and that's where it wasn't very interesting. It was quite sad, if you will.
Yeah.
And then picked up, and my partner and I moved out west. I started with a brewery called Mount Begbie out in Revelstoke. You were saying before, everyone comes in different walks of life.
Yeah.
He's a double PhD in nuclear physics.
Wow.
And moved back to his hometown and opened a brewery. And they're crushing it. So I got my foot in the door there, just slugging kegs and doing some QC work for them. Moved back to Toronto, started brewing with 3 brewers.
Okay.
Opened their Liberty Village site, and then took off to the UK for 2 years and ran a yeast and flavor standards lab over there, and then came back here.
We actually know quite a few brewers in the industry in Montreal who came from Trois Picasseurs with 3 brewers, so it seems like a pretty good gateway, like kind of to get that experience in. I know there's a bit of you have to sign stuff and NDAs and stuff like that, but it's still like, from what I understand, it's pretty good training.
It's a really good brewery school, and the beer that we produced was rock solid. So yeah, it was a great experience.
That's great. And so what was the first beer you ever brewed?
First beer I ever brewed was probably 3 Brewers Blonde Ale.
Okay.
We went through heaps of that at Yonge Street, so statistically, that would be it.
I mean, my craft beer journey in Montreal started at this place, Brewtopia, but when 3 Brewers opened, I'm like, yes, and they're like, yeah, we have the meter. I'm like, what's the meter? You get to try 12 beers. I'm like, sold, give me that. So it's pretty nice, and there's so many in Montreal now. There's 2 in the downtown core, 1 in the West Island, 1 every. You want to hit at 3 brewers, you want a more than half decent meal, and at least a consistent beer.
Yeah.
There's, they're not putting out crappy stuff, I find.
Yeah.
So, and it's always nice where their downtown location is I go have a really good beer, before I have to go have a bad mass beer at the Bell Center to go watch the Montreal
Exactly.
Canadiens. So
Yeah.
it's very nice to have that. Two locations in downtown Montreal.
Yeah.
So. And hopefully a future interview. That'd be amazing. So awesome. So you've been with Clear Lake since the start?
No.
Okay.
I've actually been with Clear Lake just maybe 14 months now.
Okay. And what was the first beer you've brewed under the Clear Lake brand?
IPA.
Okay.
The American IPA.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. And that was your so this American IPA here?
Oh, my first recipe
Okay.
was a hazy pale ale, I believe.
Okay.
A backflip. New Zealand hops, Waiti and Motueka, and then a little Magnum for bittering.
Amazing. What's the next beer we got here?
Amber.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Toast.
So, Amber, we're really showcasing those rich toffee caramel notes in the beer.
Oh, yeah.
So as we've been tasting, we've been kind of winding up through the grains. And then we'll do a few beers and sort of focus on yeast. And then we'll go through some hoppy beers to finish it off.
Sounds good. Very tasty. Now, you guys have a kind of a combination of like just the cream ale, just the American IPA, and then some, it's pretty much just named that way. You guys don't really have many kind of punny names or anything like that. What made the company decide to stick with that and not just go crazy with puns or crazy with like these names that people can't pronounce?
Our one-offs, we will have a little bit of fun of it. We have run out currently, but we do an IPA series just called Belly Flop and then a number, sort of similar to Collective Arts in that manner. So those are kind of named that way. Any one-off that isn't an IPA, we sort of name off a way to jump in the lake.
Okay.
So we've done like face plant, back flip, front flip, belly flop, a number of others.
That's great.
And then if it's for like a purpose or a festival or a fundraiser, then we'll sort of change the plot a little bit on that. But that's sort of our naming structure. And we are a cottage brewery. We don't want to confuse people. When they walk in the door, we want the cans to tell you what's happening in it. So that's why our core brands are named the way that they are.
And the logo of the guy belly flopping into the lake, who decided that?
Greg.
Okay.
Yeah. Greg worked with our designers for probably weeks and 17 versions of them to get it just right. And
make sure the shorts aren't too long. Make sure there's
and we just did a female belly flopper logo that's
cool.
going to make an appearance on. We've got a 3.5% beer coming out.
Okay.
So that'll be her debut.
Something nice, light, crushable.
Yeah.
Very cool. Love it. You guys clearly have shows happening here. I know we're here during the week while we're recording, so unfortunately we're missing out on the shows. How did the shows come across? You guys, I know you guys do day trippers as well for the spa. Like,
yeah.
What made you as a company decide like, no, you can just come for a day and then go home, just have a designated driver? That's what we ask. And then clearly for those who can spend weekends, I see more family cabins up top. It's kind of an all-in-one here. Like I know the Prague Beer Spa was more or less just going, like you have the spa and you gotta go home.
Yeah.
Whereas this is an all-inclusive. Like
that's it comes back to like building a place that you want to be at. And we have other brewers come and visit and say hi, and they're like, well, shit, where do you vacation to? Right? So it's sort of that mentality of like, okay, some of our people and partners and stuff have families. So what would they want?
Yeah.
Some of them don't. What would they want? And sort of just putting that all in one basket or umbrella and saying, this is what it looks like.
It's great. This is a personal kind of small beercation for myself, which we'll talk about shortly. So it's, this is fantastic. And to me, it's reasonably priced. It's not exorbitant, which is important to me. And all the stuff included, I can drink a beer and get a foot massage after. There's shiatsu or Swedish massage, people who come in. That's an additional fee, but still it's there. And you could just do it, and it's outdoors-ish. You're covered because you don't want people looking at you when you're naked. So it's great. And just last night, even it was raining. We're just sitting in the pool, like, okay, as long as there's not a thunderstorm happening, we could just sit here in the pool until stuff's closed. So I'm very happy right now as my Muskoka experience. We took the scenic route from Montreal, so like Trans-Canada and all the back roads. Nice. And it's nice to just not kind of be on the highway, end up in Toronto. Like Toronto, fantastic beer city.
Yeah.
But just being on the highway for 4.5, 5 hours and just going to, like, I'm actually getting an experience out here. And you guys have a bunch of fantastic other breweries around too. So, so what's next for us here?
Porter.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Woo. That's a porter.
So this one, we left the ABV a little low, 4.6. Residual sugar's high to try and balance out some of those darker, richer flavors.
Oh, the balance is right there.
Lots of chocolate and coffee in there. That's about all you can say about it.
Yeah.
Silky smooth.
Yeah. Amazing. So somebody's here, day trip or long weekend or a few days, even a week. Somebody comes here, tries a bunch of your beers while they're staying here. Friends in the area, you definitely suggest get yourself. You make sure you have a designated driver or somebody who will just have one beer, and you could either go right or left. What are some breweries that you definitely would want to check out?
I mean, we're in Muskoka. There's lots of amazing beer options. Sawdust is just down the road. Muskoka's a little further. Catalyst is right there, and Canvas is right there.
Okay.
Lake of Bays has 2 outlets now and 2 microbreweries as well. There's the Barrel House in Bracebridge, and then the tap room in Huntsville. And that's sort of their playground for pulling everything together. So a lot of exciting beers have been coming out of there in the last little bit. And then if you want to drive 55 minutes or so from here, you can get to the Lake of Bays Brew House as well.
We'd hit a couple other brews. Did somebody say Quails?
Quails, yeah. So that's actually further down south. It's sort of outside Muskoka.
Okay.
But our intern, Brooke, she's been crushing it, and that's where she's going at the end of her internship. Again, rock solid beer. They're busy as all heck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. No, I mean, that craft beer scene in Canada, the fact that it's been thriving through the pandemic is so amazing. I think I know 2 that have closed. Yeah. And one was because it was just bad business partnership from the start, and they tried to go beyond their means. And I mean, you guys opened the spa during the pandemic.
Yep.
So you already had your faithful drinkers here, and now it's like, well, we got a spa too.
Yeah.
So, and I think Catalyst opened during the pandemic.
I think so, yeah.
So it's wild. Like, I know Vermont, it went from 65 breweries to 72. Yeah. During the 2 years I wasn't able to visit America, so it's insane, and I love it, and just my palate is so happy with I get to try good beer. Most places I got to try good food. You guys have a food program here too, which is super good. The pizza place, ice cream, coffee shop across, taco, El Gringo. It's wild, how much stuff you guys have here, and just everything I could try, and a full bar up top with El Gringo, and our friends had margaritas, and they're like, whoa, these are margaritas. So these are kicking some butt.
They know what's up.
Yeah. Do you guys do a food and beer pairing, or just kind of drink what you want? And...
If someone asks, we're happy to help them out with it. For the most part, people are coming in just to sort of see friends and family and do their own thing. We do have some people who come in who are very beer oriented, and those, anyone who does that, we'll help them out. We'll cater to their wants and needs, and we'll recommend food pairings for sure.
You guys also have wines and hard. I know you guys do the Cran Radler, fantastic, which I had with my meal yesterday. Do you guys have a full bar as well here in the brewery, or it's just up at El Gringo? Okay.
Yeah, we got a full bar here. We've got a full bar at the pizza place out front, and then at Gringo's.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Next beer.
All right.
Since we have a few.
We're going to get into some yeast.
Okay.
So this is a little kind of Belgian mini series that came to be. So you'll get lots of banana and bubblegum on the nose. And then a very light, clean malt profile to go along with it. A little bit of wheat in there to help smooth it out.
Yeah, the banana, it's like banana bubblegum, except delicious beer.
So that's isoamyl acetate that did that. And we had a yeast strain in-house that just kind of fired, so.
Did you grab any wild yeast from the area?
No,
okay.
No, we're going to play around with that in a bit. We've got some projects in the works that should open up some doors in terms of agriculture and what we do. We'll see how it all plays out, but that would be our time to play around with that.
Amazing. I mean, you guys are a beer spa and a brewery, but any collabs when it comes to your stout we did with a local coffee place, or our grains are Canadian only, what are some collabs that you've done? Even brewing other beer, you guys are 5 years, which is still pretty young. Even any beer collabs you guys have done?
Yeah. So beer collab. One of the beers that we're going to taste at the end of our flight here, Putin Huylo, is actually a Pravda Brewing recipe from the Ukraine. So a portion of the proceeds are going to go back to those guys, and they'll put it
Good.
in the right place.
Good.
We do maple espresso IPA.
Okay.
The maple is from Hubbard's Maple Farm over in Huntsville, and the beans is the Oliver espresso blend, roasted by Diesel just down the road. Our cream ale, the honey in that is Muskoka Craft Honey, and he operates out of Huntsville primarily, but he's got hives all around, including Torrance. So yeah, we try and keep kind of our specialty ingredients as close to home as we can, and support local.
All right, let's try your collab here.
So this is another one of the Belgian strains.
Toast.
So a little more on the toffee caramel side, just an intro to it. Helps mute some of those bubblegum kind of notes. So it's a little mellower than the wit that we just tried.
Yeah.
But
very tasty. Yeah, they're all like consistent, clean, pretty quaffable. You know, as I said, sit by the campfire, have a cooler next to you. There's fridges in your cabin that you can sit, well, complimentary keg when we came in, I mean, but there's still room to put in other beers if we need to. So that's the convenience of staying here and not just doing a day trip. I do still suggest highly doing a day trip if you're Toronto's what, 4 hours roughly?
from here?
Yeah.
2.5.
2.5. So that's nothing. That's a weekend. That's for us based in Montreal. We go to Ottawa for a day.
Yep.
It's no problem. So hopefully, hey, people of Ottawa, you see this? It's open a beer spa. So on the Rideau Canal. Amazing. Any dream collabs? Anywhere? Like you mentioned, you went to Europe. You did the collab with the Ukrainian brewery, but any kind of dream collabs?
Dream collabs? I haven't gotten that far in my planning process.
But any personal ones you'd love?
Yeah, so we've got a collaboration that our brewer Alex is working on with the Society of Beer Drinking Ladies.
Ah, yes.
So once they get their bottle shop up and running off the ground,
I think it's open now.
I think it's open, but I think they're still very busy with everything.
Yeah.
So I've left that ball in Alex's court. I'm excited to see what comes of that. That's going to be a sweet little collaboration there.
Possibly making Brave Noise out of Aaron's recipe?
Similar.
Okay.
Yeah. So we unfortunately didn't have the tank space to do Brave Noise. I know.
Well, you guys only have so many tanks.
We've only got 3 fermenters, and we're quite busy, which is not a good excuse.
No.
I understand that. So we're trying to make up.
Yeah. And just coming in, I can see you guys are like very inclusive of everybody, and that's a very important part. You know, to me, craft beer is the color of the rainbow. Why isn't craft beer drinkers the color of the rainbow as well? Yeah. So, I saw cornhole back there. Do you guys do any like tournaments or events? I know you said you did the ice rink, but maybe beer pong because you could knock a couple of tables out of the way.
Yeah, we try and have long games out all the time. I think we've got cornhole, washer toss, and a few others kicking around here. Once a year we do a cornhole tournament with the association down in Barrie, I believe. But yeah, just try and make it a fun event space as best we can.
Sure. And any kind of in the next couple of months, any big upcoming shows where if you're close, come on by and check it out?
Every Saturday night we do a big concert at the BeerSpa now. So we just had a Kiss tribute band last weekend, which was wild. Mice and the Hurricanes playing, and a bunch of others are going to be here on Saturday nights at the BeerSpa.
Unfortunately, after this recording too, you guys are having the Muskoka Rib Fest, and
yep.
Unfortunately, we're on our way back to Montreal when that starts. So that's a little sad for us.
I'll be there.
But I'm sure the craft beer will be flowing at every single festival in the area. And any other restaurants that grab you guys, like that have you guys as licenses?
Yeah, so I think we're up to 56 licensees now.
Okay.
Shout out, I think the closest one, and one of my personal favorites, is Balla Falls Pub, just up the road. They're sweet. We played hockey with them too. We've got a nice little community up here in Muskoka, and they make some rockin' good food.
Love it. We got another one here.
Yep. So this is the last of the little Belgian series.
Okay.
Same notes on the yeast. Just hyped up that toffee caramel to sort of like a rich Belgian amber kind of profile.
Yeah, as soon as I'm like, I can't tell if it's toffee and caramel. You're like, it's both. Oh yeah, okay. That makes sense. Have you personally been to Montreal and tried the beer city there? Or?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
If you could brew with somebody in Montreal, who do you think it would be?
I'll go back to my notes.
Okay.
I'll figure that out. Working with 3B, I know a lot of those guys have moved on to other places.
Yeah,
and
so-
I really, I've been out of the country for the last 2 years, and I've been down in Muskoka for one.
Okay.
So it's changed a lot since I was last up there. But I know a lot of people kicking around Montreal making beer, and it's a long list of places I would make beer with.
Yeah. That ultimate dream beercation that you've never taken, what's that one where, let's say you have 2-3 weeks, you don't have to worry about rushing back here, your assistant is kicking butt, you can take that time with your partner, let's take a nice couple of weeks beercation anywhere in the world. Even if it's just, I'd like to go to Thunder Bay, anything like that.
Bike trip in Belgium.
Okay.
Do all the Trappist.
Cool.
And cycle from brewery to brewery.
Yeah.
It was on my list when we were over there, and pandemic kind of ruined it.
Yeah.
So now it's just sort of seared in the front of my brain.
Yeah. All right, we got another beer here.
Yeah, so this is the Pravda beer.
Okay. Cheers.
So Putin Huylo, 8% Golden Strong Ale.
Mm-hmm. So what made you guys decide as a company to do a donation beer for the Ukraine? I know they're, because we had the All Together when the pandemic started. Like I mentioned, Brave Noise. There's the Society of Beer Drinking Ladies. They work with all sorts, and Pink Boot Society as well. What made you guys decide, let's also work with a charity?
We're just trying to get involved wherever we can, really. Wherever we have the space, whatever cause kind of comes up, we're going to give it a shot and try and make it work every time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we're going to give it a whirl.
Yeah. Now, do you see yourselves adding, should you be able to expand a few more fermenters to get a few more things going?
Yeah, we got plans.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And we'll mention that shortly. So, a group of friends like us have as Drew from Kanawaki coined it, BMC, Blood Most Coors Drinker. Mm-hmm. You get that guy, and what's this craft beer stuff? What's that gateway beer?
Right now it's a session.
Okay.
We just did a pilot of Skinny Dip, which is our low-calorie beer.
Yeah.
So that is wildly approachable. It's just slightly boozy water with a bit of a hop profile. We use El Dorado, so it actually has a nice little citrus kick to it.
Yeah.
But it is very, very, very approachable for those guys and gals.
Start with there, and then maybe
explore.
Yeah, explore. Yeah, that's the most important.
Yeah, we've only got a couple beers that would scare away those people.
Yeah, probably the next one, I'm assuming, which we'll do.
Maybe.
New England's a little kick in the teeth for somebody who's not used to it.
Yes. You're absolutely right. Yeah, for the Coors Light drinker, this is going to be a little flavorful, if you will.
All right, let's do that then.
Cool.
Oh, toast. Now, clearly not as crazy hazy as most New England's are.
Nope, we're working on that.
Okay.
We're playing around with water chemistry to get it dialed in. So this is Mark 2, and we'll probably do some more. Do you want to taste it like a dork?
Like a dork?
Yeah.
How's
So
that?
I'll walk you through it. So grab the beer,
Yeah.
put it in your mouth,
Okay.
swish it around, plug your nose, swallow, slowly let go of your nose and exhale. You should taste it kind of under your eyeballs.
And my eyeballs are welling up, actually. I've never done that before. That's wild.
Retronasal, you have a whole bunch of flavor receptors back there that don't get hit through your mouth or your nose. So if you do that, you can really find, especially off flavors or positive attributes that you wouldn't normally find.
That's my own personal little downfall of my body chemistry is I'm allergic to nature. So I have to pop antihistamines while I'm up here and even in the city when people are mowing. So, but still, it opens everything up. So that's amazing. That's crazy. So we mentioned water chemistry. You're coming off a lake.
Yep.
Bear poops in the woods. Poop goes down to the lake. It's even told don't drink the lake water in your room.
So we're
how much extra work is it to kind of clean up that water to get it going?
So we're on a well, and the watershed that we're on here is actually separate from Clear Lake. We're into a natural aquifer here, so the water profile is relatively consistent. It does change season to season. We make adjustments in the brew house, but we don't strip it down.
Okay.
We don't have an RO system. We use what's already there and build on it.
Cool. I guess what's next for one, the brewery, and two, for the spa?
Spa, we are just going to keep cruising,
Okay.
more or less. We are going to get our occupancy up, and we're going to have more events, and we're going to focus on that side of the business. Brewery, we are looking at expanding.
Okay.
We are running pretty fast right now, which is amazing, and shout out to all of our clients that keep showing up and keep drinking our beer.
If you can't drink today, just buy a 6-pack and we're good. You know?
Yeah, so we've been really lucky with the amount of beer that we can move out of this site. And even on our small system, we can move a fair little chunk of product.
Yeah. And I'm assuming just you guys went with cans because they're just so much easier to deal with it in this kind of environment. So.
Yeah, you don't have broken glass everywhere.
No. Now that's sometimes it's like, oh, well, I'm a big fan of Nickelbrook's Bastard series.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, well, that's something I'll order 2, I'll cellar 1, and then I'll drink 1 this year.
Yep.
Could you see your guys doing that where you make that bourbon barrel aged hazelnut latte wild thing that you could sit in your fridge for a year and try it a year later and see what kind of new notes it comes?
Yeah, the goal is to play around with some of those things in a bit. If you actually look at the barrels, most of the barrels around here are French wine barrels.
Okay.
Red wine barrels. Yeah. They're high quality barrels. We've got a few tucked away, ready for action. Yeah. We just need to find the time to do it.
All right, let's try this last beer here.
All right, so this is our IPA in our core lineup. Single hop Eldorado. So you'll get lots of those kind of citrus, maybe a little bit of pear.
Wow.
There's a lot of malt in the beer.
That's this one, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of malt backbone in the beer. 71 IBU.
Wow.
But it's balanced out with some of that complexity on the back end.
Yeah, it's not one of those crazy bitter, as the old school commercial, I think I can't remember whatever mass brewery, I think it was like Keystone in the US, it was like bitter beer face. And it's like, all having an IPA is way back like 20, 30 years ago. And the guy drinks an IPA and his face goes in like the sour head. And I'm like, oh, you guys were so mad about the small company trying to make a name for themselves. It's terrible. And
now they're buying them.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned BMC, Molson, they have their 6 pints division.
Yep.
InBev is buying everybody as much as they can. I worked with a guy whose family is in Mexico, and his sister's job is to literally go to every single craft brewery in Mexico and be like, here's a lot of money, ours.
Yep.
They're noticing that it's very slow, but people are shifting. People want more taste. People will come to here and enjoy a great meal and a long weekend or a weekday and just sit at the spa. And what I like is you kind of have 2 concepts here. You got the bigger cabins and the smaller cabins.
Yeah.
The bigger cabins are for about how many people would you say?
They're 3 bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the smallers are 1 to 2. Yeah. And then we've got plans to do little bunkies around.
I saw one. I took an early morning walk and there was just a solo. And I heard snoring in there. So,
we're trying to figure out that part of the model.
Okay.
And then we've got a few other developments in the plans for the resort, but we'll see where they all land.
I mean, you got a lot of room. It's just trying to keep nature, right? You don't want to have to knock down extra trees, hopefully find that open area.
So. We got to keep that Muskoka charm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I love it. Scott, thank you very, very much for speaking with us today. I really appreciate you and Melissa setting this up to do everything. I've been looking forward to just coming to the spa, and just adding on the interview is a huge thing for us as a show. And once again, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
For those who are looking for the spa or Clear Lake, in person and on social media, where can people find you?
So we're in Torrance, in Muskoka Township. Muskoka BeerSpa is the hashtag or @ for I think our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and then Clear Lake Brewing Co. And you should find us.
Viewers, if you could come here. It's a great small beercation. It's not crazy expensive. It's not like I'm going to Europe. If you're a Canadian, I believe Porter lands not far from here. Just you rent a car in Gravenhurst and come on and check these guys out. As for everything, it'll be in the notes. As for us, is allbeerinside.com is the website. @allbeerinside on all social media. And as I say at the end of all episodes, drink craft, not crap.